Basic financial vocabulary. Let's talk. Hello and welcome to Frugal Over 50. I'm happy to welcome you here to my channel where we talk about everything related to frugality, minimalism, and intentional living, especially aimed at the needs of the mature woman. In today's video, I want to talk to you about basic financial terms, and I'm only going to talk about 4 of them. The world is overrun with what seems like really terrible news about finances these days, and really terrible news about health and illness. But we are going to come out of it, and we have to deal with money throughout. And so I want to talk about some practical things that apply no matter whether we are in a recession or a pandemic, or when we come out of it, whatever building phase happens next. No matter where we are, these financial terms actually apply. So there are 4 of them, and the first one is investment. What is an investment? Now, those of us who are women over 50, we have been told all of our lives, or at least all of our adult lives, what counts as an investment. And you know, most of us have not been told about true investments. We've been told to invest in makeup. What? We have been told to invest in clothing. No! Ridiculous. An investment is simply when you take your money and you put it somewhere with a reasonable expectation that you will get back not only the money that you put in, but even more. And if you can reasonably expect over a set period of time, I put in this amount of money, I get back this amount of money plus some, that's an investment. If it's not that direct, it's not an investment. And we'll talk about what it is a little bit later. The second thing is speculation. And this is a bit of a gray area. A speculation is something where you put in money in the hope, possibly leaning toward expectation, that you might get something in return, meaning you get back your original money that you put into this speculative thing, and you hope that the value will increase so that you actually get back what you put in plus a little bit more. Let me give you a quick example. So people who buy original artwork may be buying because they love the artwork, but sometimes people are thinking of it as a speculative thing. It could go up in value. It's not an investment in the sense that over a period of time, there's not necessarily a reasonable guarantee that you'll get back what you put in plus more, but you could speculate that it might happen because it does sometimes. Then there's gambling. Gambling is where you put out some money in the desperate hope that although the place that you're gambling or the people you're gambling with, although they have set it up so that they're going to win, most of the time, more than 50% of the time, but maybe more than 90% of the time, depending on how the whole scenario is set up, you just hope that you're going to get some money back. Realistically, you're going to lose everything you put in and possibly more if you go chasing after that. Now, the last category is the one that sometimes gets confused with any of the others. This is expense. An expense is the word we don't want to talk about. Expense is the word that goes along with buying things. I spend money, I get something. And we don't even like to use the word buy or purchase. We say things like, oh, I went to the store and I grabbed it, or I picked it up, or I hauled this. We use words like that. We don't want to say I went to the store and I spent money on this, or I purchased this, or I bought this, or this was an expense for me. For women over 50, going back to what I said earlier, we are often instructed to make an investment in a $50 eyeshadow palette. This is not an investment. This is an expense. And you did not go to the store and pick it up. You didn't haul it. It didn't happen like that. You bought it. You took your money and you spent it. And you now have something that, having brought that $50 makeup palette into your house, is now worth $0. You can't resell it. You're not getting money back on it. It's not speculative. It's not a gamble because you have something in return. Gambling, you're just going to lose it all, right? But it's an expense. You bought it. It ain't worth nothing now to anybody except you. And if it's worth something to you, that's great. But it's not an investment. Too often, women have been targeted for marketing with this confusion between expenses and investments. And I want us to be extraordinarily clear that over a reasonably expected period of time, an investment will give you back what you put in and more. Speculation, yeah, maybe you'll get your money back. It happens. Gambling, you're gonna lose it. Expense, that's where most of us, especially as women who are taking care of families, spend most of our daily lives. We are buying, we are purchasing, we are spending money, or we are saving money. But it has to do with this word expense. Now, there's a larger frame of reference for the word investment that I want to talk about really briefly here. And that is when people talk about, for instance, I'm investing in my health. Absolutely. This is not a monetary investment necessarily, or it doesn't have to be, but using health as an example, if I decide that I'm going to work out, as I have been recently, hooray, I feel very confident that I am making an investment in future me and my future health. And the reason I say that is because the time and the effort that I am putting into this will come back to me later, and I will get more benefit out of it later than the effort that I put into it now. And in that sense, I think it is accurate to call something like an investment in my health or my exercise routine an investment. And you may have something that's come to mind as I've described this, where you think, oh yeah, that's the place where I'm actually investing. But don't let anybody tell you, especially as a woman over 50, oh, that indulgent little purchase, you're just gonna go pick it up and grab it and haul it, and it's an investment. When we talk to each other casually, that's fine. We say things like this. I understand it's part of how we speak to each other. But if you hear a marketer talk to you about this, especially if they accompany it with like a, you deserve it, nah. If it's so important for them to sell it, they could lower the price. They could make it reasonable. Now to conclude, as we continue to plow through the next year, year and a half, I hope that you found this review of terms helpful and informative. Sometimes it's nice to go back to the basics when things get a little crazy in the world. And I will be coming back to you with more videos on a regular basis, and I look forward to talking to you more about everything related to being frugal, being minimal, and being intentional, no matter what's going on in the world. Take care. I'll see you next time. Bye.